I felt hungry when I was relaxing on my tanning bed. The summer sun complements my skin color as I enjoy its gleaming rays. The ocean breeze is so calming, and what's even more relaxing is knowing I get to spend this private island with my husband during our honeymoon. When hunger lingers within me persistently, I immediately rang the bell next to me. Whenever I ring the bell, a maid will come to me, and after a matter of seconds, someone came. "Can you fetch me a glass of iced tea, please?" "Sure, madam." The maid instantly followed my orders and brought back my favorite iced tea. As I sipped the refreshing beverage, I also savored the goodness and luxury of my life. I had the privilege of coming from a wealthy family of business tycoons. My grandfather owns a large business chain in the States, and I am one of his many grandchildren that will inherit it someday. I was enjoying my iced tea when I saw my husband coming towards me with my peripheral vision. He was bringing something. He sat next to me and kissed me on the forehead. We were madly in love with each other, just like newlyweds do. "What are those?" I pointed to the papers that he was clutching.
"Oh, these are letters for you,"
he answered and gave it to me. So I immediately opened them, and the first letter I read was from the Children's Foundation I have been working closely with. As a person in a position of privilege, I have always been a philanthropist, and I always share what I have with the people that need it the most, especially the underprivileged ones. "Oh, this is from the foundation. It is the orphanage that I kept on telling you about. They sent me a letter of gratification." As I told my husband about it, I saw his eyebrows frown.
"You can use your money on other things. Buy some new clothes and gadgets. Save your money on things or people you will benefit from."
I was shocked by his sudden statement. I never knew he had this predicament in him. He was always so supportive of my causes and advocacies. What do you mean?"
"What I mean is you should value your money, use it to your advantage, invest or save it. You're very wealthy, so don't get yourself poor by donating monthly to charities that won't do you good."
My heart almost stopped from what he said. Is he serious? Why is he so against me doing humanitarian work? Volunteerism has always been tied to my identity, and people know me as someone compassionate and generous. I remained silent because I did not know how to respond to him.
"I am your husband now, so that I will manage our finances. Your money is my money. If I ever caught you donating vast amounts of money without consulting me, you would regret it. Mark my words."
I could sense the threat in his voice even though he remained calm with a hearty smile while caressing my hair. He's acting very weird and aggressive. When we were dating, he has always been so proud of me doing these things, but now I can finally see his true colors.
"Do you understand me?"
I nodded in response.
"Good. You're the sole heir of your father's business. All inheritance will be yours because, of course, you're the firstborn child. So it's best to have me oversee the financial aspects because I'm good with it."
Since we married, he has talked about money and my inheritance as if he is up to something. He stood up and told me that he was going for a swim, but I refused to join him. I am so uncomfortable with the words he said and the actions he's showing me. What is up with him? I continued to scan the letters, and I saw an invitation. "You are cordially invited to the Psy family reunion." A smile flashed on my face as I read the text. It's an invitation from my father. We are having a family reunion. It is a perfect time to introduce my husband to them since we only eloped. Anton was very persistent in getting married quickly after 5 months of dating. He wanted us to live together, and it's been years since I saw my family. I was born and raised away from my ancestral place, and it is about time to be reunited with my blood relatives. Later that night, I informed my husband about the reunion that was happening next week. I saw how excited he was with the news.
He started planning what to wear, how to act, and who to talk to, as if he was going to a business meeting. I should talk to your father first, right? I bet he's open to conversations about money and business. Or we could talk about your inheritance. What do you think about that, my love? The money talks were generally frustrating to me. Why was he so desperate about these things? You should tell him more about your line of work, our plans, and our future family. He likes those kinds of topics better. No, your father is a renowned successful business mogul. I wanted to know how he makes money, and of course, about your inheritance. I just closed my eyes out of complete frustration. I do not want to argue with him, so I just let him be. The next following days were full of conversation about generational wealth and my ever valuable inheritance from my husband. I just kept up with him even though I completely annoyed about his actions. We flew to Beijing, and the moment we arrived, we experienced the best accommodation. My father's bellboys and maids helped us with our needs. Although I'm already used to this kind of service and treatment, it is undeniably new to my husband. As we rode the car on the way to the venue, my husband started conversing with me. I cannot believe I experienced this kind of treatment. I feel like a prince. He said those words while playing with the personalized watch I had gifted him. Our staff has always been kind and hospitable when caring for us. So, this is what money does. I cannot hear what he said because he whispered it. Also, I don't want to dwell much on my husband's weirdness because I want this day to be perfect. After an hour, we arrived at the guest house. When I exited the car, I saw my cousins, nieces, nephews, and other relatives. Everyone greeted me nicely. I saw my mother rushing her way towards me and gave me a very tight hug. Mom, this is Anton, my husband. Anton, this is my mother, Maria. It's so lovely to meet you finally, Anton. I want to know more about you. My mother clung to Anton and walked with him. She showed him the venue and even introduced him to our other family members. The guilt from secretly eloping faded instantly as I saw my mother show affection to my husband. It is indeed worth it. I was having a blast with my husband and cousins when a car finally arrived. It must be my father. I stood up excitedly and waited for him to leave my vehicle. My husband stood up as well. The car opened and a familiar face came out. A tall, beautiful, lean, charming, and sophisticated girl graced the venue. My older sister. Everyone greeted her, and it was truly evident that she was well loved. She ran towards me and kissed me on the forehead when she saw me. Oh, how I missed you, my little sister. I hugged her and kissed her as well. My heart is so happy to see her after so many years finally. I missed you too, my older sister. By the way, this is my husband. Anton, my love, this is Sheila, my older sister. I saw my husband's face change from confused to bewildered. He looks pretty mesmerized by my sister. He was just there staring at her, examining every inch of her. I understand she's beautiful, but how can you do that before me? I purposely cleared my throat to catch his attention, and it did snap him back to reality. He made a handshake gesture, and my older sister accepted it. My husband gently held her hand. I'm Anton, Ophelia's husband. It's nice to finally meet you. You're so beautiful. My eyes went round with what he said. He was still holding Sheila's hand. I started to panic deep inside, but I paid it no heed. My father finally came out of the car. The first one he saw was me. The smile on his face was so beautiful. We hugged each other. Oh, how I missed him so much. In the same drill, I introduced my husband to him and vice versa. My father stared at him. He scanned his whole body, or even his whole existence. And I can generally tell when my father liked a person, or now
It is apparent that he doesn't like Anthony.
Sir, I idolized you. Can you tell me more about stocks and investments? I want to learn those things.
Today is not the right time to talk about that.
No, it is the right time, sir. I heard from your interview that any time is the best time to talk about business.
We are at a family gathering?
My father said those words in a very calm and emotionless tone, and by that I could already sense the irritation in him. Anthony immediately talked to him about business and money matters. My father was overwhelmed by the weight of the questions he was asking. So before anything gets worse, I interrupted him, and I can sense that he was angry about that.
We should take some of the cocktails. It is my mother's favorite.
I grabbed my husband's arm and took him to the bar counter, but he aggressively let go of me. After that incident, we never talked again for the entire night. As we checked into our room, he remained distant and silent, but he broke the silence after an hour. You lied to me,
he yelled. His sudden rage took me aback. What are you talking about?
You told me that you're the eldest child. You said to me that you will inherit your father's riches, but you lied.
I never lied to you, and why does it matter if I am the eldest or not? What's the big deal? He punched the wall behind me and he almost hit me.
It matters to me. If I married a second child, then I would not be prosperous, because you don't have the inheritance. How am I supposed to be wealthy now when you're not even the oldest daughter?
I gagged with what he just said. So he just married for money? Now I know. You only wanted me for my inheritance? You're a user? You fooled me. How dare you do this to... He slapped me hard in the face. I can feel blood dripping from my lips.
You're the one who's a user. You used me to what? For your good? You're selfish. I don't want to be with someone with no inheritance like you. You're so selfish. You're the one who fooled me. You lied to me. You deserve to be abandoned.
My husband grabbed the flower vase beside him and threw it to the floor. The shards from the broken glass landed on my skin, and just like that, he left me alone. My parents heard the commotion and rescued me. I told them everything that happened. I thought he was good. He's a decent man. But good thing we discovered his true colors earlier. It would be best if you didn't suffer later in your marriage. My mother tried to remain calm, but my father was in complete rage.
That idiot deserved to be punished. He will rot in jail for what he did to you.
For the next few days, I stayed with my parents and my older sister. But ever since the incident, she has become very distant from me. And whenever I tried to talk to her, she only responded with minimal answers. Aside from that, I am also doubting her. But one day my speculation became true. I went inside her room because I was inquisitive. The maid told me that she was out for dinner. I inspected her bag and I saw my husband's watch. I knew it was my husband's because it was a personalized gift. My heart started to pump fast. Are they having an affair? The possibilities are high because my husband always wanted money and my sister has it because she is the oldest child. Or is she? Sheila did not return home that night, and I was never wrong with my instincts because my husband sent in the divorce papers first thing in the morning with a note stating, "I love your older sister Sheila. She means the world to me. She's the most valuable treasure. I will marry her." I laughed when I read the text. He is a fool as well as my sister. When my husband told me he would take control of my money, I always had a hunch that he was only using me to his advantage. He was trying to use me for my wealth. But now it is as clear as the ocean. His intentions were never pure. And little did he know that he would marry the adopted child. My older sister is not my biological sibling. She's my cousin. My parents adopted her because of her poor health conditions.
Sheila's mother was the family's black sheep, and she could not support Sheila's condition, so my parents took her in. They treated her as their child. But when I came into this world as my parents' biological daughter, I naturally inherited my family's legacy, wealth, and businesses. Even though I'm the second child, I am still the biological one. So, the riches of my family will be passed down to me. I sent my sister a message telling her I wanted to meet them, and with no delays I met them at a restaurant. The two were sitting next to each other like a newlywed couple. I wanted to smack my husband and ask my sister about her betrayal, but I don't want to waste such nonsense. I am so eager to see their downfall. I sat across from them and my husband smirked. The liar, user, and manipulator. He mocked me. I just stared at him and responded to him with a smirk. Oh, do you mean yourself? Huh, you're a terrible bitch, aren't you? The audacity of you to call me a liar, user, and manipulator? Really? Everyone knows you fooled me into thinking you are the firstborn child. Of course I am. I responded with an emotionless tone. Oh, hell, Ophelia, stop talking nonsense. We both know that you will not inherit anything from your father, and you will be sinking in poverty in no time. Clearly, Sheila is the firstborn here, and she will inherit every wealth. My sister was so confused, and I sensed she was already uncomfortable. Is she? Anton raised his eyebrow. I turned to my sister and stared at her. Are you the eldest child? I asked her with dominance. She could not answer me. Sheila is not a biological daughter of my parents. She's adopted. So I will inherit everything, whatever it takes. Am I right, Sheila? Yes, you are right. And wait, why are you suddenly all about money and inheritance? Did you just run away with me because you thought I would inherit my father's wealth? I smirked at my husband. He was already sweating. So you're the heir, your heir? I have always been the heir, Anton. So you will have all of your father's money? Yes, and you won't have any of it. I slammed the divorce papers on the table and signed them before him. I saw him panicking. No, please, Ophelia, don't sign the papers. He tried to stop me, but my sister slapped him. My sister does not deserve an arrogant and selfish guy like you. After I signed the papers, I looked him in the eyes. You just lost your most valuable treasure, which is me. He went to his knees and begged for mercy. Please, my love, I didn't know what I was doing. I was so hurt because I thought you lied to me. Please forgive me. I love you. You only love me for my wealth. That is not love, Anton. That is selfishness. I hope you will get comfortable in life. You're a terrible person. Instead of working hard to earn money, you wanted to do the simple yet cruel way using other people? He broke down in tears and cried even more. Forgive me, please. The restaurant door opened and my parents came in. My father handed me a paper. It is a statement of all his accounts. Now, I will let this guy witness what he wasted. Today I'm offering you all the inheritance you deserve, my child. You will own every business and money that I have starting today. I'm retiring, and no other person can forego the family legacy other than my one and only biological daughter, Ophelia. My husband broke down again. He could see the diamond slipping off from his grip. I forgave my sister for what she did, and knew she was only a victim. My father ordered the guards to kick Anton out of the restaurant. I held every right to my father's business and properties from that day. And upon acquiring this tremendous amount of wealth, I immediately donated a large portion of my inheritance to the charity foundation. And on that day, Anton never returned to my life, and I will never wish to return to his life either.